Welcome to the Ask Global TouchTunes Angelina Conversion process. The tools you will require are flat blade screwdriver, 7mm socket set, Phillips screwdriver, side cutters. The kit will include all of the required cables, reader, telebox, antennas, SIM card, hard drives and nylon ties. First of all, cut the strapping around the box and discard off carefully. Place your hands into the side of the cardboard box and lift the lid off. Store the contents of the jukebox in the lid for repacking later. The jukebox comes in a plastic bag surround. Break the plastic seals around the bag. Holding the top of the bag, cut below the sealed line. Now pull the plastic bag down around the base box. The mains lead that's mounted on the back of the jukebox will need to be released. There are two nylon ties, one at the top and one at the bottom. Now pull the mains cable out of the way. Before lifting the jukebox, make sure that the two copper locating lugs are set horizontally and that the bracket is bolted on securely and is level. Two people must lift the jukebox together. Insert a hand into the lifting hole at the back of the jukebox. The keys for the unit are stored inside the plastic bag. Insert the key and turn 90 degrees to release the front cover. Make sure that the lugs are now turned 90 degrees to securely hold the jukebox. The front cover will now be able to swing open. You can also see the computer, the controllers and the power supplies. Inside is the main loom. The first nylon tie needs to be cut on the left hand side. Followed by the nylon tie in the center, right hand side and vertical cable on the right hand side. Next, remove the plug from the coin mech. And undo the latching plug that connects this to the coin mech. This cable will not be needed any further and can be placed to one side. Next, remove the 2-pin plug. And the 2-pin inline connector. At the bottom of the door, you will see 3 M4 nuts. Using the 7mm socket, undo these 3 nuts. At the top of the door, there are 3 Phillips head screws. You will need to remove the left and right screws first. Place your left hand on the door and from inside use a Phillips screwdriver to undo the center screw. Now place your right hand on the door to support, whilst keeping your left hand on the other side of the door. Tilt the door outwards from the top and place the door onto a protective surface. Next, remove the 2 pin plugs at each end of this wire. Unclip the coin mech and remove, place to one side. The new door that has come pre-cut has 12 studs on it, and we will be replacing the metal plate from the original door onto this plate. To release the metal plate, we undo 12 nuts and 3 Phillips screws. Remove the 3 nylon spacers that are on the original door and place them onto the new door on the 3 studs shown. The location of this white plug is very important as it can be jammed below the metal plate. Please be careful to make sure that it fits through the hole centrally. Make sure there are no cables hanging out through the front of the jukebox. Next, tighten the 12 nuts and the 3 Phillips screws. Do not over tighten. Next, return the cable and plug it in both ends. The reader head will come with 4 M4 nuts on the back. Use the 7mm socket to release these and remove. Check that the reader head is an RS232 version. The holes are pre-cut, ready to align the reader head. Make sure that the 4 LED lights are located at the top of the reader head as you insert it back into the door. Make sure that it sits nice and flat against the front door. You will see the 4 bolts and the RS232 connector. Next, use M4 washers and the M4 nuts and tighten these to hand tight only. Do not over tighten. Again, make sure that there are no cables in the way and that you have a Phillips screwdriver ready to insert the first screw to hold the door. Using both hands and having put the coin mech back into the plate, now insert at the bottom and tilt back. Insert the first Phillips screw head into the center. This will hold the door in place while you insert the rest of the screws and nuts. Make sure that the nylon cable grips are also added back onto the M4 studs. Put the cables above the reader head. Insert the 2-pin plug. Reconnect the 2-pin inline connector. Carefully lift the hard drive into the hard drive slot. If there is any interference, take it back out and realign. Once the hard drive is slotted into place, tighten the screw up using a flat head screwdriver. Do not over tighten. Next, the loom provided is for TouchTunes Contactless Angelina and Palladium. Below the coin mech is a nylon tie base. Insert the nylon tie and take the CoinMech 10-way connector. Plug it into the CoinMech. Wrap the nylon tie around the cable and tie off to hold the cable in place. Next, take the 10-way JST RS232 connector. Insert it into the back of the reader head and make sure that the latch clicks as it connects. The cable comes with Angelina and Palladium. For this, select the Angelina power lead. Feed it through the cable clamps. In the center and to the left. And feed it up behind the main looms and hinge. Insert the 2-pin plug into the circuit board and make sure that it latches. This socket here will need to be hot glued after insertion. Next, take the 26-way Molex iGrid telebox connector. Clip the cables into the cable clamps. Feed it along the bottom using the cable clamps and leave it looped up to where the telebox will be located. Pull the other cable loom forward to allow the telebox loom to be at the back of the door. Next, insert the 10-way JST in line. This is polarized and latched. Make sure that it clicks. Next, remove the SIM card from the SIM card holder and prepare to insert into the SIM card on the back of the telebox. This is located at the top right hand side. Making sure the SIM card is the correct way round, slide it in. The card will latch and you will hear it click. If this doesn't work, unlatch it and try again. Next, using the fluffy Velcro, place this onto the back of the telebox. Taking the crochet hook Velcro, add this onto the back of the telebox. Insert the 26-way iGrid Molex connector. Remove the backing from the Velcro. Stick the telebox onto the back of the door, lined up with the side of the bolts of the reader head. Note that the cables are routed over the top of the telebox. Next, add in a nylon tie through the tie base and tie all the cables below the telebox. Both left and right of the telebox. Next, take the 5-port switch. Peel off the backing and stick to the left-hand side of the rear of the cabinet. Note that the power socket is pointing upwards. Take one of your RJ45 Cat5 cables and plug it into the LAN socket of the telebox. Make sure that it clicks into place. Take the other end of that cable and plug it into the second port on the 5-port switch. Take another RJ45 and feed it up the back of the cable looms past the circuit boards. Take it to the top of the cabinet and follow the loom across. Take this Cat5 cable and route it behind the camera cables and insert into the RJ45 of the main computer, marked LAN. Take the USB to 5-volt connector lead and route the USB up past the circuit board behind the cables. Take it to the top loom and feed across. Route this behind the camera cable and plug into any of the USB sockets. Now take all of the cables that are located to the top of the PC. Place a nylon tie around the cables and tighten. Route the cables down through the nylon clamps, both on the vertical cables, and then take the Cat5 cable and plug into the top port. Take the 5-volt power lead and plug into the switch. Nylon tie these cables together, both inside and outside the door. Locate the rest of the cables into the nylon clamps at the bottom of the door. Nylon tie the cables vertically. Next, take a 4G antenna and peel off the backing. Stick this to the top of the door and route the antenna cable to the brass SMA connector. Tighten this up finger tight. Next, take the longer 4G antenna. This can be placed on the jukebox once the unit has been sighted. In the meantime, leave it inside the box connected to the bottom SMA connector. The antenna is magnetic mount. When the box has been sighted, the mag mount antenna can be placed at the top of the jukebox at the back, and the antenna cable routed through the back of the jukebox. At this point, the internet connection from the site can be routed through the same hole and then plugged into the RJ45 5-port switch. Next, turn on the power and allow the unit to boot. You will note that there are 4 LEDs showing on the switch. This is correct. These will be the 3 LAN cables and 1 power light. The red standby lights will be shown at the top of the door from the front. So place your finger underneath and press the first button to take it out of standby. Once the unit has booted, it will ask you to do a calibration of the screen. Press top left, bottom right, bottom left, and finally the next button, top right. Select English and apply. Select Download the settings from the TouchTunes server. Next, press the button marked Proceed to Verification. If everything is connected correctly, you will have green lights. If the box is located in a workshop, press No. If it is on site, press Yes. To test the contactless, you will have a TouchTunes test card. When the unit is working correctly, the blue light on the front of the reader head will be illuminated, as will the coin mech. The plates that have been removed need to be returned to Paul Sykes at Ask Global. We are available for online support.